We've got listing agents. Now, if they do the regular thing, and you can see on the left, they sell to a retail buyer or an investor, and that buyer either has cash or gets a bank loan. That's the most common path. The less common path, although extremely powerful, and a lot of listing agents would do well to advise and at least let their clients know, their seller clients know, about the option of seller financing. But anyhow, so if the retail buyer or investor buys the property using the seller's equity, then that seller's equity gets reflected into a note, a promissory note and security instrument, which is a deed of trust or mortgage. And usually it's just assumed by everyone closing that real estate transaction that they're just going to hold it forever, and nobody tells that person, the seller who then became note holder, nobody tells them, not the real estate agent, not the title company, not their attorney, not their accountant, not their financial advisor. They have no idea that there's a secondary market for notes, that someone might want to buy that note. And the only way they find out about that is because they start getting letters and postcards in the mail like 6 weeks after it's recorded in public record. And then they go, what? Somebody wants to buy my note? And then they start Googling around and going, oh, wow, this is a thing. But by then, right, the value of the note has already been baked in. And it's worth what it's worth. It could be worth 90 cents on the dollar. It could be worth 50 cents on the dollar, or in some very sad cases, nothing because of critical errors and omissions in the whole way the deal and the paperwork was put together. Now, they have the option to sell the whole note, and that usually means a bigger discount. They also have the option to sell part of the note, just a few payments, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years worth, which is called a partial. And in that case, it's usually little to no discount, especially if you get some help underwriting the transaction before the terms are agreed to, before the terms are inked. Banks, they do their underwriting. It goes to an underwriting department because they want to make sure that they can sell their notes on the secondary market up to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? So they know what the secondary market will pay before they make the loan. Now, sellers who loan their equity and carry back paper, who's their underwriting department? You need someone in the deal that knows what the secondary market will pay and help them craft a note that is in harmony with their needs and goals. Otherwise, they're going to get blindsided down the road because they had no idea. And if you're the agent, then you can do them a great favor by at least letting them know there's a secondary market. And by the way we put this deal together will greatly affect the value of your note down the road if you ever need or want to sell it, or your heirs and beneficiaries. So let's get some knowledge here and start asking some questions. Now, we have selling agents. Those of you with a buyer with a strong down payment who can't get or doesn't want bank financing will offer a higher price for seller terms. If you have a buying client like this, you need to get good at just submitting an offer. Or you don't even have to be good, right? Just know that you can submit an offer asking for terms. They have to have enough equity, right? This is for sellers that have maybe 80 to 100% equity in their properties. And there's about 38% of those, it's guesstimated. So there is a lot of equity out there for you to tap into. That seller most likely doesn't know that they would carry a note. They're pregnant with a note, so to speak. They don't know until you make the offer. So just do that. And if you don't know how to make the offer, or if we're just coming up with snags, you can hire me, consult in the situation. And if needed, I can bring cash to the closing table, because we will reverse engineer the transaction so it works for everybody. And I can say, look, you're going to originate this note in this way, and I'll buy a front and partial, so that you get more cash at closing than the buyer has for a down payment. Okie dokie. So over here in the left lower, we have private lenders. They're in the primary mortgage market, originating loans, usually to the investor who's buying properties. That's where these fit in. We have note investors who buy owner carry notes on the secondary market, and many people partner with me on these deals when I'm involved. All right, wholesalers. Okay, you guys are usually really awesome lead generators, and you deal in property and you make an assignment fee every time you assign a contract. If you get If you have negotiated a cash contract with your seller, usually it just goes like this. An investor pays cash, they fix and flip it, and then they sell it to a retail buyer for cash or cash to new loan, or once in a while they will own or carry it and become the bank for the buyer. The other thing you can do is you can do a novation. Let's say there's not enough room for you to just assign it to a cash buyer. You can do a novation, and you can find a retail buyer yourself, either doing a flat fee MLS or just creating enough room in your deal that an agent can get paid and it's still worth your time to do the deal. With a seller financing contract, you can do the same thing. You can assign the contract to an investor, or you can do a novation, get it listed with an agent or on the flat fee MLS to find your retail buyer there, right? But either way, you're just assigning it for your quick fee for flipping the real estate contract. What you fail to know or to recognize many times is when that property seller sells their property with owner financing, they're just trading one asset for another. They're trading a property asset for a note asset. This is the invisible thing that you are not seeing. So if I come in here, I would love to pay you an assignment fee for the right to buy this note. It works a little bit differently, and the timing can't be guaranteed necessarily, but it's very possible for every seller financing contract you get, you should be making one guaranteed wholesale fee, and secondarily another wholesale fee for that note that's involved. That is a juicy thing that you guys are leaving on the table. The better thing for you to do, and you may not be ready yet, but your goal should be to the point where you are the investor. You take it down, you buy it. Instead of just taking a fee, think like an investor. Don't, every once in a while, maybe you can just keep these, because once you are the investor, you have the passive income, you have an option on the note you're paying on, or you can decide to be a landlord. There are 3 juicy opportunities here for you in which it's not like you're giving up your wholesale fee really, especially if you just turn it back into a note. If you're not a landlord, you can make a wholesale fee up front, have monthly income, just like any private lender or a bank. Plus you can fund your private pension for when you're tired of the hamster wheel. And I promise, most of you are very young, but I promise you will get older, and passive income and surprise money that comes in later on in life is really, really nice. So basically, you guys, if you'll keep your foot in the door and be the investor, stay in the middle of it, you can 10x the wholesale fee over time. That is not an exaggeration. Agents, now I've got a lot of places on here. You can put yourself in any of the shoes of these different players here. Agents, pay attention to what I just said to the wholesalers and investors, and maybe you want to think about how you can once in a while put on the hat of the investor or the wholesaler. In the last 2 novations that I did, I made double or more what the involved real estate agents did, and still made a great deal that worked for everyone. I sold below market, got a beautiful young woman into a new house, her first home. And wholesalers, basically, you can benefit by being an agent or being able to receive a referral fee. And also, please, all of you, think like long-term investors. If I had to choose, if I can only pick one thing, a bunch of chunk change all the time that I had to work really hard for and spend a lot of money and time doing, or passive income, I would choose passive income all the time. It's the rabbit and the hare kind of thing. You plug along with passive income being your main goal, just to have a little more passive income this month than I had last month. To me, I would trade that all the time. I would be okay with not having the fancy cars and the big houses and all this stuff. But to me, that's just, of course, I'm 60, so just take that into consideration.